It's Friday, July 7th, 2017. I'm your host, Sarah Mantle. We have a great show in store for you today. First up is our arts and culture segment. This week, we'll get to meet the men of Hyannis Sound and hear them sing. Then we'll learn more about the town's pump out program with Assistant Harbor Master and pump out operator Jared Smaller. And finally, we'll learn more about Swim and Safety Week with Aquatic and Program Coordinator Tim McGrath. All of that on this episode of Barnstable Today. But first, let's go ahead and get a look at today's top headlines. Governor Charlie Baker's Council to Address Aging in Massachusetts wants to hear from residents. The group's hopes to hear ideas about how to make Massachusetts the most livable state for people of all ages. To do that, they will host a listening session at the Barnstable Senior Center Tuesday, July 25th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. The event is free and open to the public. All are encouraged to attend. Property owners will receive real estate and personal property tax bills this week. The town collector sent out the bills July 1st. First quarter taxes are due August 1st and second quarter taxes are due November 1st. You can pay those bills online by visiting the Town of Barnstable's website and clicking through to the Town Collector page. When you do that, you will need to register or log in and have your parcel number ready. You can contact the Town Collector's office with any questions. And just a reminder, all dogs residing in the town of Barnstable should now have their new tags as of July 1st. If you have not yet purchased a dog license, you can get one in the town clerk's office. After August 1st, a $5 late fee will be added. Up next is our arts and culture segment featuring Hyannis Sound.
So I'm here with Jason from Hyannis Sound. Do you want to talk to us a little about your concert series this summer?
Yeah, sure. So we're a 10-man a cappella group. We perform up and down Cape Cod all summer long. Every Monday we're in Falmouth at the First Congregational Church on Main Street at 7 p.m. Every Tuesday we're in Chatham at St. Christopher's Episcopal Church on Main Street at 7 p.m. Every Thursday we're in Dennis at the Dennis Union Church on Route 6A at 7. And then on Fridays we kick off a little bit later, let people get dinner. We start at 8 on Main Street at the Federated Church in Hyannis.
So what can people look forward to when they come to your concerts?
We really pride ourselves on having a really diverse set. We try to aim for ages 5 to 95, so pretty much anybody who comes to a show will be able to find something that they like. We're always adding music to our shows, so if you come multiple times over the summer, you'll never see the same show twice.
And are there like special events that you guys are hosting or that we can see you at besides your scheduled events?
Yeah, so we perform every day, and in addition to normal concerts, we have a couple special concerts coming up. We also have our annual bootleg show coming up, which is we live record every song on our set, so it's like a 2.5-hour concert. It's all live recorded, so people get their claps and cheers on the albums, and then that comes out at the end of the summer. And then on August 5th, we have our alumni show, which is really cool. We bring back an old group, and they do half a show, and we do half a show, and then we sing songs, and it lets people who've been coming to the shows for a while kind of reconnect with some of the alumni who've been gone.
That's awesome. And you guys are also like a very diverse group of people too. You're not just all musically majors. Like what types of majors are you guys like in?
Well, yeah, we're kind of all over the place. We've got economics majors, music majors, communications majors, because we're running a business, so we need guys who are from every spice of life who have a lot of different skills. So music is only kind of one of the elements that we look for.
And like, what's the process of getting into Hyannis Sound? Is there like an audition process, or do you like recruit? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, it's an audition process. So it starts online. People can submit a short video. They sing some scales and a song, and then they send it in, and we pick the finalists from those videos to come to Boston for a weekend, and we'll put them through a bunch of rounds of auditions, and they know by the end of the weekend whether or not they're in the group.
Is there anything that you guys are all looking forward to doing this summer besides, you know, obviously singing a lot all over the Cape?
Yeah, I mean, we sing a lot, but it's fun to just explore and find different parts of the Cape. There's so many like nooks and crannies that we haven't gotten to yet. It's my 3rd summer, and there's still stuff that I'm looking forward to trying. So if you have any advice, let us know.
Oh, I definitely will.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you guys want the viewers to know at home about your group or anything else that's coming up?
Just come see us. We've got a ton of really good music this summer. Really proud of the work these guys are putting out, so we'd definitely love to see you at a show if you can make it. That's
awesome. So for more information, you can go to the Hyannis Sound webpage, or you can find Jason. Thank you so much for being with us.
Absolutely.
1, 2, 3. Do 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 bop, wow bop, wow bop, wow wow wow, Diana, Diana, Diana. When I had you, I treated you bad.
girl, since you went away, well, don't you know I sit around with my head hanging down, and I I should have never, well, never ever made you cry. But girl, since you went away, well, don't you know I sit around with my head hanging down, and I wonder, loving you. You know life without love, it's so lonely. It's so lonely, babe. Yeah, so lonely, I don't think, no, I don't think I'm gonna let it go. I don't think that all my life, oh, I've been lost to you. So come on, baby, come on and take it. Worry that pretty little head about it, baby, 'cause don't you know I sit around with my head hanging down, and I wonder who's loving you, yeah. Freedom, freedom, freedom. You gotta give for what you take. Freedom, freedom, freedom. You gotta give for what you take.
Heaven knows I was just a young boy, didn't know what I wanted to be. I was every little hungry schoolgirl's pride and joy. I guess that was enough for me. Guess it was enough for me. To win the race, a prettier face, got brand new clothes and a big fat place on your rock and roll TV.
Rock and roll TV. Yeah, yeah.
Today the way I play the game has got to change, oh yeah. I think I'm gonna get me some happy.
I think I'm gonna get me some happy.
I think there's something you should know.
I think it's time I told you so.
There's something deep inside of me.
For someone else I've got to be.
Take back your picture in a frame.
Take back your singing in the rain.
I just hope you understand. Sometimes it goes and I make the man. All we have to do now is take these lies and make them true. So all we have to see is that I don't belong to you, and you don't belong to me. Heaven knows we sure had fun, boy. Just my buddy and me. We had every big shot, good time band on the run, boy. We were living in a fantasy. We won the race, got out of the place, got brand new clothes and a big fat place for the boys on MTV.
Boys on MTV. Yeah.
But today the way I play the game has got to change, oh yeah. I think I'm gonna get me some happy.
I think I'm gonna get me some happy.
I think there's something you should know.
I think it's time I stop the show.
There's something deep inside of me, yeah. Take back your picture in a frame.
Don't think that I'll be back
I just hope you understand. Sometimes the clothes do not make the man. All we have to do now is take these lies and make them true somehow. All we have to see is that I don't belong to you, that you don't belong to me. Yeah, yeah, freedom, I won't let you down. I will not give you up. Hey, you gotta give for what you take. Yeah. Freedom, freedom, freedom. You gotta give for what you take. Oh, freedom, freedom, yeah. Freedom, freedom. You gotta give for what you take. You gotta give for what you take. Freedom, freedom, freedom. You gotta give for what you take. Freedom.
Thank you.
Wow, we had so much fun listening to Hyannis Sound as well as last week's Arts and Culture segment with Cape Harmony. Got to get out and see those guys this summer. Well, now we're going to find out more about the town's pump out program with Assistant Harbor Master and pump out operator Jared Smaller. So Jared, really want to chat with you this morning about the pump out program for the town of Barnstable. This is a really important program for mariners who are enjoying Cape waters. What can you tell me about the pump out program?
Well, the pump out program has been running since 1995 within the town of Barnstable. We have 2 boats. One operates in the Three Bay area, the other one in the Hyannis area. And we also have 2 land-based stations, one at Bismore Park in Hyannis, as well as one on Barnstable Harbor on the north side. And last year, in conjunction with Highline, we added a 3rd station on the land, and that's up just off of the loading area in Hyannis, and that is able to accommodate bigger vessels fitting in at the bulkhead.
Now let's talk a little bit about how this works. Let's say someone is out there, we know regulations have changed, people can no longer dump in the water off the Cape. So talk to me about how they could go ahead and schedule a pump out or where they need to go. What's the process like?
Well, there's multiple ways. The boats operate 8 to 4:30, 7 days a week. Now the Hyannis boat is only operational for the most part Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but we do make trips over to Hyannis with the other boats, so if you're looking for service, we can accommodate. But there are basically 3 ways that you could schedule a pump out, either by calling us on the radio if you see us out, or flagging us down. The boats are center consoles, they're white, they say Harbor Master on them, and they also say pump out. And if that's the case, we'll just pull right up and we'll pump you out then. Or if we're underway, you can call us on the VHF radio on channel 16 or 9 and hail the Barnstable pump out boat, and we'll switch you over and we'll figure it out from there. You can also call our office at 508-790-6273. Anybody in the office will leave us a message. If you do call, try to give us a little bit of lead time because, like I said, we do operate 8 to 4:30. Or our workday ends at 4:30, so we can't always accommodate you immediately if you call the office. Then the 3rd way would be to send an email. Now, there is a link to the pump out email on the town's website on the Harbor Master page. That would be your easiest way to go through it. And we do check that a couple of times a day. We don't have mobile email for that, so we don't necessarily check it all the time, but we do check that a few times a day.
Great, but if you knew you were going to need to pump out at a certain date, you wanted to schedule that in advance, that'd probably be a really efficient way to go.
Yes, absolutely.
Talk to me a little bit, Jared. What is the fee structure for this service?
There is no fee. This is a free service that the town offers. It's funded in part through the longest-running federal grant in federal government history. Called the Clean Vessel Act, and a portion of the tax on your marine fuel and fishing supplies goes to fund the grant. That's why it's been running so long, because there is a funding source. So that money is distributed from the federal government to the states, and then the states to the municipalities. So it is a free service, and that's what makes it so great and enticing to people, is it's doing a quality thing for the environment and our waters, and it doesn't cost you anything.
And do you remember, and not to put you on the spot if you don't have this date, but do you remember when the regulations switched over? Because I think at one point mariners could actually drive out so many miles offshore and dump. Have people had trouble sort of changing and making sure they follow those regulations?
I think the conscious boaters and the people who appreciate the environment and aquaculture and what we have here on Cape Cod for a resource, and let's face the economic impacts of Cape Cod as well. Our beaches and waterways are a huge attraction to people. I think those types of people used our service from the beginning and didn't care about going 3 miles out, which is what you used to be able to do, and empty your tank. In 2013, the regulation finally passed in full that Nantucket Sound was a no-discharge zone. So essentially now, all of Cape Cod and around the islands and all the way up through Cape Cod Bay and in towards Boston Harbor, that's all a no-discharge zone. Whether you go 3 miles out or not, you still cannot empty a holding tank.
Yeah, which really, like you said, is really a good move for the environment. And glad to hear that the service is free at this point. You know, want to ask you a question about the service. How long of a process is it once you meet up with the pump out boat? How long does it take?
Usually we're done within less than 3 to 5 minutes. Most
really
holding
quick.
tanks are not huge. Our boats draw pretty well, and it's a sealed system, so there's never any of the effluent that's exposed to people. We basically pull up, we undo the cap, hook up a hose, turn the pump on, and when it's done, we're moving on.
Great. Is there anything
so
boaters?
Yeah, it's a very quick process.
Is there anything boaters need to do to make sure to be ready for the pump out boat?
If you have scheduled a pump out and you're not planning on being on the boat, because I have a list of right around 35 boats that we do on a weekly basis. We do them during the week so that the boats are ready for people during the weekend, and that's another option that you can do as well for a pump out, is get on our weekly list if you know you're going to need it. And the best way to do that would be to send an email. But just make sure all your valves are set to the discharge to the proper way so that we can just pump and be ready to go. And where it's early in the season, make sure that the cap on your discharge will open up. A lot of times over the winter they get frozen and just corrosion sets in. We can't break it free, and we're not into breaking things. So if you could just make sure that those are free and clear for us, that we can actually open that easily.
Yeah, that'd be helpful for sure. Is there a punishment, let's say, or a fine if you're caught if you're caught dumping into the ocean? Is there a fine or a penalty?
There is. There are fines at local, state, and federal levels for that.
So nothing you want to mess with. Just call the pump out.
No, nothing you
boat.
want to mess with, because every one of those fines has commas in it. So we'll leave it at that in terms of how stiff the penalties are. This is something that the federal government has taken seriously, and that same significant interest has trickled down to the municipalities and the state government as well.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Jared, for joining us this morning, telling us everything we need to know about the pump out program here in the town of Barnstable. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Bye now.
Bye-bye. My guest today, Jared Smoller. He is the Assistant Harbor Master and Pump Out Boat Operator. Next week is Swim and Safety Week for the Barnstable Recreation Division. We're going to learn more about that with Aquatic and Program Coordinator Tim McGrath. So Tim, so excited to chat with you and learn a little bit more about Swim and Safety Week. What is Swim and Safety Week?
It's an opportunity for our lifeguards to show the public what they do and to educate the public on water safety.
So interesting too, because I know how this has gone on for quite a while, the Swim and Safety Week.
Absolutely.
And so it's interesting because you have events all over town at different beaches. So you may be at Douse's Beach and get to watch a demonstration. Are the demonstrations different at each beach?
Well, they do vary a little bit just because it's not, it's structured in a way that the lifeguards can show their unique skills. And we do have different demonstrations at each beach throughout the town on different days. So we might have a CPR demonstration at Douse's Beach, say on Wednesday, but on Thursday the CPR demonstration will be at Craigville. And it changes every day, and we really encourage people to come in and check it out.
Is there a certain time that these demonstrations take place?
Typically they're structured throughout swim lessons, which are in the middle of the day from about 10 to 2 is the busiest time. But they're really going on throughout the day.
Wonderful. So the schedule, tell us a little bit about the schedule, if you can.
Absolutely. So like I said, we're going to have different demonstrations each day throughout the town. For instance, on Monday at Veterans Beach, down the road we have a board rescue. So the lifeguards will do a mock rescue where they'll go out and use the paddle board, and they'll do a rescue using that as their primary equipment. Then the next day on Tuesday they will do the same thing but with the rescue tube. So
wow.
It's a great opportunity for people to see what happens in a rescue.
And you know, I got a chance to see some of these things happen, some of these demonstrations last year during Swim and Safety Week, and there's a lot more to it than I initially assumed. There are so many different procedures, and actually sometimes lifeguards and the person that's being rescued, it's not necessarily a gentle process.
No, not at all. There are a lot of moving pieces because we do have a lot of staff at a lot of our sites. We have up to a dozen staff. So everybody has their own role to play, whether it's being the first responder or calling 911 or the gate attendant shutting the gate down to allow rescue to come in. But everybody has their own role. We practice that almost daily at each of our sites so that we can, when the real thing comes up, our lifeguards know exactly what to do.
Yeah, so nice for beachgoers to know that the lifeguards are so well trained here in the town of Barnstable. I think that's been a huge mission for Patty Machado over the years, so really interesting. And I think basically for beachgoers to see some of these things, it'll give them an inside look at a little bit more what it's like to be a lifeguard and why the rules are in place. There are so many rules, I think, that people don't understand. They're not there to make you not have fun. They're really there just to make sure you're safe.
Exactly. Yeah, we're not trying to have a no fun beach. It's really all for safety, which is what this week is all about. Is that we want the public to be safe and know how to be safe around the water, even when staff isn't at the beach, so that when we enforce rules, we try to encourage them that we're doing it for their safety, so that we can all have a good time at the beach. That's
right. Well, thank you for joining us, telling us all about Swim and Safety Week. And for our viewers coming up, we have a special demonstration from last year that we're going to share with them. But be sure to get out there and enjoy Swim and Safety Week and catch a demonstration for yourself at a local beach. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Our guest today, Tim McGrath, Aquatic and Program Coordinator. Heading to the beach is a must for so many of us here on Cape Cod, and it's lots of fun. But for lifeguards, it's not just a day at the beach. That's why the town of Barnstable hosts Swim and Safety Week at beaches across town, highlighting many of the rescue techniques and safety measures lifeguards take every day.
The primary rescuer will always grab the rescue board. The secondary rescuer will grab the tube on a rescue into the water, with other guards coming and taking over this lifeguard chair. And as you can see, if you look all the way down, the lifeguards then will stand up in the towers to oversee and take over each zone, so the people that are in the water can actually still be watched during the time that they're swimming. The primary rescuer should be the first person there on a rescue board. We're going to have her, she's going to go passive. Currently she's active, and she's going to go passive. So he's going to have to flip the board over, reach across. He has to make sure that he places her correctly on the board. And then he's going to turn the board around, and that board is going to be facing forward, so he doesn't have to do it while she's on the rescue board. He will flip her onto the board. This is not an easy thing. This is painful for the victim, to be honest with you. Then he will turn, get her on the board, making sure that she's located correctly on the rescue board. Then he will slide up the back of the rescue board to paddle in. The secondary rescuer will make sure that if they need any assistance during that time, if the victim was maybe a little heavier, then the actual lifeguard is able to pull them up then that person would assist in that. Okay, we're simulating that this person is passive, which means they're semi-conscious to unconscious. As they come ashore, we're actually going to fabricate that they are unconscious completely. And you're going to see both rescuers help bring the victim ashore. There are many different ways to handle bringing a victim on shore. So obviously we're doing an active coming in, not a passive exit from the water. So as she approaches the victim, as she's approaching, she listens to make sure that everything's okay. She's listening and listening for at least, she's looking for the chest to rise. She's feeling on her side of her cheek to see if there's any breath, and she's assessed that there is no breathing. And so now we're going to try and give 2 rescue breaths. Okay, the breath doesn't go in the first time, so they're going to try again. They're simulating this. And as soon as we have the mask ready, the mask would go in place. Okay, there is no breathing, there is no pulse. So they start CPR. Now, 2-man CPR is done differently than the layperson. Our lifeguards are trained in professional rescuer CPR. So the CPR that is done is 15 to 2. So they'll do 15 compressions and then give 2 breaths. Making sure the person that is actually doing the compressions is making sure that they can feel the breath going inside the chest, so that they make sure that the breathing is effective during that time. CPR will be continued until rescue shows up to take over. And the CPR, the actual compressions, we would be bringing a AED down. All of our lifeguards are trained with the AED. Unfortunately, I did not bring a training AED for them to utilize today, so we cannot use a regular AED on a practice victim. So once the person that's giving compressions will then switch eventually into letting the person that they're working with know that they're going to complete their compressions, and then they're going to switch so that the other person takes over. Again, doing 15 with 2 breaths. And again, they will continue this until EMS arrives, or another lifeguard could come in and take over.